What if the baby you have been caring for, feeding, singing to, losing sleep over, and pouring every drop of your love into does not actually know who you are? That question sounds almost cruel to ask out loud, and yet it sits quietly at the back of the mind of almost every new parent at some point in those early weeks, usually in a vulnerable, exhausted moment when the baby seems to look right through you, when there is no smile of recognition, no visible sign that your face means anything more to them than any other face in the room. And in that moment, the doubt arrives. Does this baby know me? Does this baby feel anything specifically for me? Am I real to them in the way they are real to me? And the answer that science has assembled over the last several decades is so layered, so surprising, so genuinely moving, that it will not just answer the question. It will make you understand that the bond between a baby and the people who love them is being built in ways that are deeper, stranger, and more ancient than anything that shows up on a baby's face in those first quiet weeks. The story of infant recognition does not begin at birth. It begins before it, which is the first thing that astonishes most people when they really stop to think about it. Because we tend to imagine the moment of birth as the starting line, the first page of the story, the point at which the baby's relationship with the world and with the people in it begins. But neuroscience and developmental research have shown that a baby is not a blank slate at birth. They are a being who has already been listening, already been learning, already been building a relationship with a world of sound and rhythm and sensation for months before their first breath outside the womb. By around the third trimester of pregnancy, the auditory system of a developing baby is functional and active, and the baby is absorbing the soundscape of the world outside, muffled and filtered through amniotic fluid, yes, but present, and most dominantly, most constantly, most intimately of all, the voice of the mother, which is not just transmitted through the air the way other voices are, but is conducted directly through the bones and tissues of the mother's body, arriving at the baby's developing auditory system with a clarity and a richness and a warmth that no other sound in the world can match. Researchers at the University of North Carolina demonstrated this with a study that is as beautiful as it is scientifically compelling. They gave newborns, just hours or days old, the ability to control which audio recording they heard by the rate of their sucking on a pacifier, and when given the choice between their mother's voice and the voice of a stranger, newborns consistently and clearly chose their mother's voice, adjusting their sucking behavior to keep hearing it, demonstrating beyond any reasonable doubt that they already knew it, already recognized it, already preferred it. Before they had ever opened their eyes in the outside world, before they had seen a face, before they had been held or named or consciously loved, the voice was already filed, already familiar, already home. And if that is astonishing, consider this. The same principle applies to story and language and rhythm, because a famous study asked pregnant mothers to read the same short passage aloud repeatedly during the final weeks of pregnancy, and when their babies were born and tested, those newborns showed a measurable neurological preference for that specific passage over passages they had never heard, which means a baby arrives in the world already carrying impressions, already shaped by experiences, already holding a version of you inside them that was built in the dark, in the warmth, before the beginning of the story you thought was just beginning. Now here is where the science becomes even richer, because recognition in babies is not a single thing that switches on at a particular moment. It is a layered process that builds across multiple sensory channels simultaneously, each one developing on its own timeline, each one adding depth and dimension to the baby's internal model of the people who matter to them. And understanding these layers is what transforms the question from a source of anxiety into a source of wonder. Smell is the first layer that most people do not think about, and it may be one of the most profound. Newborns have an extraordinarily acute sense of smell, and within hours of birth, they can distinguish the scent of their mother's breast milk from the milk of other women. A finding that has been replicated across many studies in many different countries, and they will orient their head toward that familiar scent even when they cannot yet focus their eyes, even when they cannot yet process a face, because the olfactory system, the smell system, is one of the oldest and most evolutionarily ancient parts of the brain, and it is online and functional and remarkably sophisticated from the very first hours of life. This means that when a mother holds her newborn close and the baby turns toward her, nestles into her, seems to find a particular peace in her arms that no other arms quite replicate. This is not random, it is recognition, ancient and wordless and bone deep. A recognition that bypasses the visual cortex and the face processing regions entirely and goes straight to the oldest part of the brain, the part that has been recognizing safe and familiar things since long before humans had language or memory or names for what they knew. The visual recognition of faces develops more gradually, and this is where the timeline becomes important to understand, because in the first weeks of life, a baby's visual system is simply not developed enough to process a face with the detail and clarity that recognition requires. Newborns can detect the general shape of a face, can orient toward it, can show a preference for face-like patterns over non-face-like ones, but the fine-grained, feature-by-feature processing that allows a brain to say, "This specific face is my mother's face and not someone else's," requires visual acuity that is still developing. And yet, even within this limitation, something remarkable is happening, because researchers have found that newborns show a preference for their mother's face over the face of a stranger within the first few days of life, even controlling for smell, even in conditions where the babies cannot hear the mother's voice, suggesting that the visual system is picking up something, some combination of contrast, proportion, movement pattern, that it is already beginning to learn and to prefer. The first genuine, fully featured, unambiguous recognition of a specific caregiver's face typically emerges somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks of age, and it announces itself in a way that parents describe as one of the most electrifying moments of early parenthood. The social smile. Not the sleeping reflex smile, not the gas smile, but the real one. The one that arrives when the baby's eyes find your face and something lights up behind their gaze, and the corners of the mouth lift in a way that is unmistakably, specifically, heartbreakingly meant for you. And what is happening in that moment, neurologically, is that the fusiform face area, the region of the brain dedicated to face processing and recognition, has developed enough connectivity and enough stored information to fire in the specific pattern that says, known face, safe face, loved face, and the smile is the outward expression of a neural event that represents one of the first fully conscious acts of recognition a human being performs. But here is the first twist that changes the whole picture, and it is one that most people never hear. The recognition that babies build is not limited to faces and voices and smells. It is also a recognition of emotional signature, of the specific texture of how a person makes them feel. And this form of recognition begins earlier and runs deeper than any of the sensory channels, because the baby's nervous system is extraordinarily sensitive to the emotional quality of the people who care for them. To tension in the arms that hold them, to the heart rate of the chest they rest against, to the pace and rhythm and tone of the voice that speaks to them. And all of this is being registered, catalogued, and responded to from the very beginning in ways that shape not just who the baby recognizes, but how safe the world feels, how trustworthy people seem, how much of themselves the baby is willing to open up and offer. Researcher Beatrice Beebe at Columbia University spent years studying frame-by-frame video of mother-baby interactions in the first months of life, and what she found was extraordinary. Within seconds of beginning an interaction, babies and caregivers fall into a subtle, unconscious synchrony of rhythm and movement and expression. A dance so fine-grained that it is invisible to the naked eye but unmistakable on slowed-down video. And the quality of this synchrony, the degree to which the caregiver's responses match and meet and flow with the baby's signals, directly predicts the security of the baby's attachment at 12 months of age, meaning that the baby is not just recognizing your face, they are recognizing your way of being with them, your responsiveness, your particular emotional rhythm, and they are building their sense of safety and belonging out of the specific texture of thousands of tiny moments of being met. And now, the second twist, which is perhaps the most humbling and the most beautiful thing that research has revealed about infant recognition. It turns out that babies recognize you long before they can show it in any way that you can see. And the gap between when recognition is registered internally and when it appears on the surface as a visible response is one of the most poignant and important gaps in all of early development. Because a baby who looks blankly past your face in the second week of life may already have stored your voice, your smell, your emotional rhythm, your heartbeat in neural circuits that are real and active, but not yet connected to the motor systems that produce a visible response, meaning the recognition is there before the smile that proves it, the knowing is there before the expression that confirms it, and the love, or whatever we are willing to call the deep positive attachment that a baby's nervous system forms toward the people who care for it, is there before you can see it, building quietly in the dark, the same way the baby built their knowledge of your voice before they ever saw your face. What does all of this mean, taken together? It means that the question, "Does my baby recognize me?" has an answer that is far older and far deeper than the moment when a 6-week-old first smiles back at you across a room. Because the recognition began in the womb, with a voice that arrived every day like a tide, with a heartbeat that was the original rhythm, with a warmth that was the first definition of safe. And it continued in the first hours after birth, through smell and touch, and the specific quality of being held by hands that are already familiar. And it grew through every feeding and every night waking, and every time a cry was answered, and every song that was sung slightly off key in the dark. And all of it, every single moment, was being received, being registered, being woven into the neural architecture of a human being who was building their understanding of love from the only materials available to them, which were you, specifically and completely you. The sound of you and the smell of you and the feel of you and the emotional signature of you, long before the word you had any meaning at all. So the next time you lean over your baby and wonder if they know you, if any of this is landing, if the love you are pouring out is reaching something, know that it is reaching somewhere older and quieter and more fundamental than a smile, that it is building something inside a brain that cannot yet tell you what it knows, but knows it nonetheless, that your baby recognized you before they were born, carries you inside them in ways that have no name yet, and that every moment you show up, every moment you answer, every moment you simply stay, is being received and remembered and held in the most ancient and wordless kind of knowing that a human being is capable of. Subscribe for more Mind Secrets.